Welcome, amazing realtors and investors from across the country. Today is Thursday, April 11th, 2019, and this is Mastermind call number 223. We have two people in the queue. As I mentioned last week, unless we have something to say, we're changing the format a little bit. We're just going to jump right to your calls. And this week, the only thing I do want to say to get started, as far as our winner of the week, last week we had Jim Comley. He got his head handed to him on his first call, and he got a come list me on his second call. And then we had Richard Eaton, who's a relatively new subscriber, that got his first come get me listing, and he had 7 more that he thought he was going to list over the next couple months. So anyway, we had such a hard time deciding that we gave them both the winner of the week. And if you guys haven't been contacted by our support, give us a call, and we're going to give you a discount on your next set of leads. So, and we encourage all of you to do that. These calls are an open forum. You know, we want to hear what's working, share it with these other people on the call. You know, everybody will benefit from it. So, again, we only have 2 in the queue. Room for more. Hit *6 and hit 1. And let's go to our first caller this week. Is phone number ending in 3427. You're up first.
Hi, this is John Davies. I am here outside of Pittsburgh, and since there wasn't a whole lot of folks in the queue, I said I'll jump in on a different subject, similar subject, but
sure.
Just starting to build relationships with the attorneys, but also have a relationship with the executive director for the Bar Association, and she's looking for speakers, and I'm looking for advice on what you guys might have to give me advice about speakers topics to cover probate and related activities to these attorneys that I have the ability to get in front of.
So how about a speech like expediting probate for families in the region or something like that? So imagine if you have an opportunity to speak in front of attorneys and show them how your service picks up where theirs leaves off. So you can help with anything that's outside of the legal scope, and that perfectly complements what you're doing. And just demonstrate how, you know, rather than having the redundancy in the same questions day in and day out from families, you can become part of their internal process and a member of their team, and you can deal with all the non-legal aspects of helping the family. And naturally, you'll earn referrals for doing that.
And Chad, you might want to go to our website and get, how many people are going to be at the event? Do you know?
It will depend at times. So
I'm sorry?
If I can get it as a regular speaking activity with like any of the other specialty attorney topics out there, could become a regular speaker.
Oh, that's great. I was going to suggest we have a tri-fold color brochure that you can download and modify, or we'll print it for you. And it's a really good piece to leave with attorneys. It kind of covers what Chad said. Also, our wheel that I think we have on our website and we do on our mailings to show, Chad, I think you always quote something like 75% of the things that need to be done are non-legal related. The attorney only takes care of 20 or 25%. So both of that brochure and that wheel kind of show them. And I mean, even if you just put it up on a slide projector and went over it with them and showed them how you can take care of the things that they're constantly getting calls and taking up a lot of their time that often they can't bill for, you know, that would be a really good topic.
And underscore how everything, every part of your service is aimed at maximizing the equity in both personal and real property. So the family is going to make more money working with someone with your skill set than they would going at it alone.
Okay, very good.
And please come back. And when is your first opportunity to speak?
I will be talking to the director there of the Bar Association here to see. She is going to put it in front of the president of the board there, and so depending on the interest at that point, could be fairly quick getting on the calendar.
That's great. Did you take the mastery course yet? Did you get your CPE or not?
Yes.
You did. Okay. Because again, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Chad. Chad has shared this with one of the callers a couple weeks ago. You don't have to have a lot of personal experience. You've got a designation, and you're part of a group of 4,000 members on our Facebook group that specialize and brainstorm and share ideas how to help executors and attorneys around the country. So use the brag and use the strength of the group if you haven't done a lot of deals yourself.
Oh, that definitely can help. Certainly 4,000
Okay.
members will get attention.
Exactly. Chad, you wanted to add something?
Yeah, I was just going to say, if you really want to learn what their appetite is for content, and it might be a good reason for you to touch base with individual attorneys, a week or two before your gig, start calling probate attorneys and say, hey, I'm a new member of the bar. I'm going to be speaking at the next meeting. What would you like to hear from the real estate community? And get some topic ideas from the audience. It gives you a good reason to reach out and introduce yourself and get them, your name's front of mind even before you take stage. And maybe you can email, or maybe you can have an assistant make those calls, but I would try to gather like topics of interest from the audience if you can.
That's a wonderful idea. I like that. It's very helpful.
All right, John. Thank you.
You have to videotape your first speech and put it in the Facebook group for all of us to watch.
Definitely, at least by the second one or third. But yeah, let me one way or another see how we can publish that out there. So that would be a great idea.
Yeah. So for everybody else listening, this idea has been discussed a couple of times on Mastermind calls, and we've talked about it in Mastery, which isn't public, but you can actually become a member of your state bar association, and I think they classify it as like an affiliate membership if you're not, if you don't have a license to practice law, but you pay dues and you come there with the attorneys. There's also groups like this for fiduciaries and public administrators, and everyone we've had that has integrated into these groups has had great success. And unfortunately, they don't come to these calls that often because they're in the chaos of their real estate business doing deals, but it is really effective, and it doesn't seem to matter what market you're in. Not many people are stepping up and taking that kind of action. So congrats to you for getting out of your comfort zone. It's not going to be an easy thing to do the first time, but you've got courage, and that'll pay off for sure.
Oh, definitely.
All right. Great way to start the call. Thank you, John. Next up is phone number ending in 1965. You're up next.
Yeah, hi, my name is Vicki Bush. I'm with Carol Fritz. I'm an associate member with her, and I'm a paralegal by trade of 22 years working for the government, but I've been in criminal. So I was just listening to what you said about becoming an affiliate member of the bar. That would be the bar for the lawyers. And, I'm going to be, working as an assistant under her. So I just wanted to check in today and see what you guys were talking about and what I could learn. And I have learned a lot from that first question.
Sounds like you got what you came for.
And we'll have to get onto your Facebook as well, because I wasn't aware that was going on. Do you have to be a member straight up, or can I do it as her assistant?
You can join. So it's All the Leads Mastermind is the name of the group.
Okay, let me write it down.
And there's two questions, like how did you hear about the group and what
Okay.
industry are you in? Just answer those questions, and we'll let you in after the call.
Okay, you said All the Leads, what?
All the Leads Mastermind.
Mastermind. Yeah, I just got introduced to this yesterday. And you were also saying about affiliate, or see, I'm personally going through this with my mom's estate. So I'm kind of learning how, personally it's doing. And I've had experience with the reverse mortgage type stuff, with the probate. But you mentioned, besides the Florida bar, well, I'm in Florida, so that's why I say, Florida bar. What other groups did you say to try and reach out?
I haven't seen one in Florida, but I'm guessing they exist. So in California, they have professional fiduciary networking groups, and that's just simply a public administrator. In California, they're known as fiduciaries. In Florida, you would look for probably, public administrator networking or public administrator association or, professional meeting or something along those lines. I haven't came across any yet in Florida, but honestly, I haven't really looked that hard.
Right, okay. Well, I really don't have any other questions. I, again, learned about what you can do, and I like the idea that, getting up in front of people and, when we have real estate functions, to educate, people about what we can do. And what kind of groups is he talking about, talking in front of? Like how, because, to get a bunch of people that are involved in it, to probate themselves, I don't know how that would work,
Well, he was specifically referencing a group of attorneys.
Oh, okay,
Not the personal representatives.
Okay, all right. So in hindsight, then your system would send the leads that would, in our area that's involved with the probate.
Yes.
Okay.
And I would suspect if you were a paralegal for many years, you probably know more about how it works than the attorneys do. They show up in court and collect their fees, so you're going to come in with a lot of knowledge, and that can't hurt. It's funny, we always tell our agents, you don't have to know as much as the attorneys. You just have to be able to explain to them how you can help them. But your extra knowledge certainly isn't going to hurt anything. So that's
and yeah, you are right there. And my realtor that I'm an associate with, or an assistant, when she approached me about this stuff, I kind of was like, oh, that sounds interesting. And like I said, I'm going through it with my mother's estate right now in New York. And again, I'm a paralegal, so I describe everything as if they hit something at you, the ball, you got to hit it back in order to be successful. You can't be sitting on documents, and the same thing applies to real estate. And especially when you get into foreclosures and get into those other short sales, and, you can't drop the ball on any of this because, then it just prolongs, and, then you have unhappy, family members that have just lost their loved ones. You want to expedite it as quickly as you can. And so I did find it interesting, and I thought about that last night, and, I might want to try to join myself if I'm allowed, and, you get your designation, because I can change my resume, my bio. And right now it's more geared to like a criminal justice, like just to tell about Vicky, but I can change that verbiage very easily. And, so I think the paralegal, background is going to help to give my customers, or the families, I should say, comfort that they have somebody, because like you said, the lawyers are only doing 20% of the work. We're doing the rest, Yep. So this could be a very interesting and lucrative business for my partner and I. So
what is your role in the partnership?
Well, I was a full-blown agent on my own, and so now, the rules change when you are a licensed realtor, under another agent. So, I'm really doing most of the functions I was doing right now until her and I can sit down and develop, what we want to do. My voice in it, honestly, is going to be, because this is what made me successful and make $100,000 in real estate on my own, and Carol was doing just as well. So at least for me, $100,000 is good. I couldn't get that out of the government, let's just say, unless I was a judge. You know what I mean? So after 22 years, I thought, well, real estate, the sky's the limit. You know what I mean? There's nobody going to tell me how much I can make. So that's what made me change. And I just think this whole thing is a good idea. But I have the gift of gab. I have the empathy, the sympathy. I can, let them open up. I can't explain it. A lot of agents don't have that, and it's sad when they don't. And like my partner here, she really doesn't want, to be talking too much on the phone. She's much better in person, and so I guess my main role will be to work the leads, that we get, and to be reaching out to people in a sympathetic and an empathetic way, because you have to really, this is a cautious time, in my opinion, when you're speaking to these, these situations. So,
the reason I ask is you seem like your combined skill set and personality is perfect to be the ISA on the team. So
what's an ISA?
Recommend
What's an ISA?
Inside sales agent, the appointment setter.
Okay.
So with your legal background and with your current situation going through your mother's estate, you've got you understand empathy, right? Like you get it now. You know what it feels like. Even to be a real estate professional, it's still difficult to navigate this. So you're going to be perfect on the phones with personal representatives because you come from a legal background and you've been in their position. So
and
that's
what
good
I'd like
to hear
to do
that.
And I'm not sure yet what we can do with all of this. Like I said, it's all new, and that's why Carol wanted me to kind of listen in and talk to you guys. But yeah, I'm real comfortable with that aspect of it. And like I said, I can change my websites and, change my verbiage or my bio, just a little bit maybe to tailor it more toward the paralegal, because I did that, mainly criminal justice was just a portion of my career, But yeah, I've worked for too many lawyers in my career, and I hate to say it, I watched them all, come and go out of law school and become judges, and some get disbarred, and what I mean, it's crazy what, those lawyers, have to deal with. But you do, I think, have to be a special duck in any aspect to handle it, probate, because and the one thing good about it is I'm learning they're only allowed to speak to the executor, see, so me as an agent selling a home for them, if other family members want to speak to me or have questions, if the executor allows it, I can keep everybody in the loop, where the lawyers kind of shut you down, Oh, you have to talk to Vicky, so especially when it comes to a sale and when you have, multiple heirs on it, So
have you had a chance to join any of our role play calls yet?
I haven't done anything like that. Like I said, Carol just forwarded me this, and then what I did on your, let me get to it real quick. It's the weekly probate mastermind call is what she forwarded to me, and then what I did is I signed up
right now.
The
first Wednesday of every month we do a live role play call. And we got 41 or 42 hours of those archived. So
now, do you have scripts and stuff you recommend?
Hold on. If you go to the top right, go to alltheleads.com, and the top right there's a search bar, and you can type in role play. That's the quickest way to land all of them on one page. But I would recommend, because you're just kind of getting into this, check out those role play calls. We don't do scripts because these conversations can go in a million directions in the first minute.
Okay.
So we have, when you log in, you'll see under step 3 of Fast Track, there's a sheet called the Probate Seller Interview Sheet. And that's basically the structure of the conversation.
There you go.
And then you can listen to the role play calls to develop your own language to go with that.
Now, do I have to?
My partner, I didn't mean to interrupt you. My partner, Tom, is on the call. He does an orientation call with our new subscribers, but you're kind of new by way of coming in under Carol. So Tom just offered, if you would like him to do a little orientation call and kind of give you an overview of the whole system, just let us know. Just send an email to support@alltheleads.com, and we can kind of bring you up to speed.
Oh, that'd be great. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I'm really interested.
I don't mean to cut you off. We got a bunch more people in the queue, but I really appreciate you participating. Thank you.
Right. Thanks.
All right. Take care. Next up is phone number ending in 9711. You're up next.
You mean 3861?
9711. Tracy.
This is Wayne.
Well, Wayne,
hey,
go ahead.
Yeah, Wayne, it skipped over Tracy. Tracy, you're next. I don't know why it did that. Hey, you're
Well,
up,
thanks
Wayne.
for taking
Go
my
ahead.
call, guys. This is Wayne. I'm in Texas, in the Houston area. A subscriber for a little over a year, 15 months now. And probably not a candidate for the winner of the week, but probably the whiner of the week. Quite honestly, I'm kind of struggling. I've had I've had about 6 transactions that have closed. So I've had some success, but overall, it's a little bit frustrating. I'm trying to figure out how, if you've had feedback from others that are maybe in challenging counties or challenging areas, or what I can do. I've taken the mastery. I got the CPE. I'm on all the calls, but it's just tough. I just keep getting, there's no real estate. Everything's handled. I'm handling it with the attorney. Everything's good. I try to probe and handle the calls, as best I can. But I do make some connections, and I am following up with some folks. I believe there's some future business out there, but I'm just not converting to the extent that I'm anticipating or I expect.
Right. Are you in the mailbox too, or are you just on the phones?
We do the mailing. My client care coordinator sends out the letters, and I'm making the calls.
Okay. And are you doing greeting card envelopes for your letters?
I use a blank envelope, a blank white envelope, and we handwrite the address, and the letterhead it's got my logo on it, and it says, my team name, Probate Real Estate Team, and I use your letters. I just took your letters and tweaked it a little bit, put my credibility website on the bottom and that kind of stuff.
Okay. So it is certainly getting tougher, and what we hear more than anything now is we got it handled. Our attorney has it covered. Right. And sometimes that's true. Sometimes they do have it handled, like they're more proactive and getting things done. But a lot of times they're just sick of hearing from people who have a kind of a selfish offer, and a lot of that is 50 postcards and letters from investors. And as soon as they talk to the first one and they throw out a number, they think that everyone's going to offer the same number, and they just kind of
we're not selling the house. Stop calling.
Right.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
So you might some suggestions based on what you said. You might pull the real estate, take real estate out of your logo, and just say, you could call it the probate team or, probate specialist, whatever you want to do, but try to step away from the real estate titles and step away from real estate in the name. Just be a probate specialist, and that's where the door, where you can get them into the conversation. Like if you can get them to engage, they'll tell you the truth. But getting past that is becoming the challenging thing. And if you want, Wayne, I don't think you weren't in the last mastery class, were you? When did you finish it?
No, I've done it a couple of times. One to do it this week, but I was not on that.
Yeah, we just finished it. So we role play this one. If you look in, the top right search bar on alltheleads.com, put in "We've got it handled" or "Our attorney has it covered" or some words like that. It should bring up some of the other role plays, but I would say maybe refresh yourself on some of that, like listen to it, and that could spur some thoughts of what you could do differently. But tell me how you're opening your conversations. Are you talking about real estate in the beginning or titling yourself as a real estate professional?
Yeah, no, I stay away from the real estate thing. I just keep it, it depends on if it's the first call, second call, or third call. After the first letter, it's basically, hi, this is Wayne. I sent you a letter last week, and I was just following up. Make sure you got it, and make sure you understood why we sent that to you. Give me a call when you've got a few minutes. And leave my number. Tell my name again. Leave my number.
Yeah.
So I keep it real generic. I don't use real estate. I tell people I'm a certified probate expert. And a lot of times they say, "Oh, we're not selling the house." I'm like, "Well, great. I'm not calling to buy the house. I'm just reaching out. I'm a certified probate expert specialist, and I'm just I help families that are going through the process. A lot of times there's all kinds of different issues and areas where my team can be of assistance." So.
Yeah. So your language is good. You've got that dialed in for sure. something.
I don't know if it's the county that I'm in. I mean, I've got, there's a wealthier area where I am in the southeastern part of the county, but then there's a lot of it that's, there's, mobile homes out in the sticks kind of thing. So, and it seems like most of the leads, as I look up, now I call everybody. I don't curb qualify, or I don't say, oh man, that's just a $30,000 mobile home, I'm not going to call. I call everybody, send the letters to everybody, but after, getting blown off, and then I kind of look at it, I'm like, well, there's nothing there really anyway, so I just kind of move on.
Hey, Wayne, I was just going to ask you, have you ever tried going back, like maybe take a month, 4 to 6 months ago, and try to recall those? Because a lot of times that initial reaction, like Chad said, is just because they're getting so many calls. And
Right.
We've had a lot of agents go back and try some of their old leads. Now, maybe 75% of them are going to be sold, but the 25% that hasn't sold are going to be more ready, and they're not going to be resistant from being harangued by so many other people. I have thought about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea, and I'd love to do it. But quite honestly, I sometimes struggle with, it's about 100 a month. I struggle with just keeping on schedule and making my calls within a week after I send those letters out. So I quite honestly, I haven't gotten to that. I think that's a great idea. I'd love to do it, but I'm just trying to keep my head above water with just following the program with the 3 letters and calls.
It's a good suggestion Jim made. What I used to do, Wayne, is about every 6 months, I would drop a ringless voicemail to the whole, to the last, I would go back up 90 days and then drop at least 6 months. I would drop a voicemail to those 6 lists back. So they were 3 to 9 months old. And there was one period where I went
drop a ringless voicemail?
So you can use the system I like is it's by Voice Logic. It's called voice casting, and you should familiarize yourself with TCPA and the laws surrounding ringless voicemail, and just make sure you're comfortable with your risk. But it's for what is it, Jim? I think it's 8 cents a piece. You can drop you can drop a ringless voicemail, so the phone won't ring. It'll just show as a missed call and a voicemail.
Right.
And that's I had a 2.5 month dry spell where I was like, damn, it quit working. And I dropped a ringless voicemail to the 3 to 9 month old leads, and I listed 6 houses in 2 days. And it was that would have been roughly 600 people that got the voicemails. So out of 600, I got 6 listings. It was only 1%, but all I did was, set up it took maybe 3 minutes to set up to get 6 listings. But if you're going to do that, like I said, make sure you understand TCPA and you understand the risk associated with ringless voicemail systems.
Okay.
Yeah, and one of the reasons we like that company out of Canada, they do call from Canada, and they actually do it for you. You basically can just send them our leads. And I think if you mention us, you're talking Voice Logic out of Canada. If you mention us, I think they even give you a little bit of a break on your first set of calls, or they give you some free calls. But
I think ask for, if you use them, ask for a guy named Steve Lindo. He's their VP of sales, and I think they give you 500 free minutes. They charge by the minute for a voicemail. So you get 500 free minutes, I think, for being an all leads subscriber.
Okay.
I'll give you another suggestion. I'm just going to give them another suggestion. When I did it, the first time I did it, I used my office line, and I sent it out to all the phone numbers. Well, every single wrong phone number called me back in 5 minutes and wanted to know what they had inherited, if they won the lottery. So make it, I would suggest something like, hey, it appears from the county records you inherited a property in, my county, in blank county, Texas. I may have the wrong number. If I do, no need to call me back. If you do have property in Texas you want to sell, give me a call. And use your cell phone or use either a cell phone or a Google line, so you can let them all go to voicemail and listen to them and decide which ones you want to call back first.
Okay.
Definitely use Google Voice, because it will capture all your missed calls and email you and then transcribe your messages. So if you get 500 callbacks, it makes it a lot easier to manage for the rest of the day.
Right. Yeah, I have tried Google Voice in the past, but I'm back to just using my regular cell phone now. Which brings me, that's another issue, like, my outgoing voicemail. Yeah, I don't want to, it depends. I've got, a lot of my business is just as a realtor, regular, inbound calls I get, and sometimes they get thrown off when I have the word probate in there, but then I want to have the word probate in there because when I get ATO calls back, I want them to know that, that this is a probate expert here. So I'm kind of, I go back and forth with a different, Wayne, the Wayne probate real estate team or real estate team and probate. I'm not sure how to get that all in there, but.
So if you set Google Voice up as a forward, you can accomplish what you're looking for. That's how I used it. So I set up a Google Voice number and then forwarded it to my cell phone, and I turned on the option to have a call prompt. So when a probate call comes in, my cell phone rings and shows me the number it's coming from. It looks just like a regular call. But when I pick up, it says, you have a Google call from, and then it gives them a name prompt, so they'll say their name. So that it gives you an opportunity to make sure you're set for the right conversation.
Okay.
But then also, like when you miss calls, they go straight to your Gmail inbox. So you can actually.
So I could have a different outgoing message there, you're saying then?
Correct.
Okay, that's good.
And you can even, with Google Voice, you can press 1 to pick up the call or press 2 to listen to their voicemail live if they leave a voicemail. And I don't know if that's useful for you in any case.
Well, it depends. Yeah, sometimes
the other thing
I might be in a position where I can't take the call, so I just let it go to voicemail. Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing I wanted to suggest, I'll ask first. What have you done as far as building your referral network with attorneys and other people associated with families at this time?
Yeah, well, I've done that on occasion, not consistently. I've been to several of the attorney offices. I've got the nice tri-fold brochure here, and I go out and introduce myself and, compliment them that, they're obviously doing a good business. I see their name and let them know I'm reaching out to some of the folks that they're working with that are going through the probate process, and I'm here, perhaps I can help you to help your clients. And so I've done that a little bit, and I've gone back to a couple of them, 2 and 3 times, but I don't do it. My goal is always to do this every week, go hit 2 or 3 of them, but it's tough, quite honestly. Seems like the reaction is always, I'm not really warmly received. I always kind of get the cold shoulder and and nobody's calling me back, and I haven't really developed a tight relationship with an attorney that recognizes the value that I might be able to offer their clients.
Have you tried senior living communities, nursing homes, anything like that?
Well, I do a seminar. I've partnered up with some folks from Prudential Advisors, and we're doing seminars at a 55 and over, not assisted living, just a Del Webb community, just a retirement community. And so I'm out there kind of, just kind of like a networking opportunity and getting in front of those folks. I have not done retirement or, assisted living places.
Yeah, I mean, what you're doing is a good idea. You could, think about who has, contact with folks in those surprise transitions in life. And nursing homes, a lot of times folks don't have a long-term care plan, and then their health changes, and all of a sudden everything, all of their net worth is locked up in their primary residence, but they need to change their living situation. So the contact person at those facilities, their job is to show them the benefits of the community and then figure out if they can afford that. So when those people understand that there's a business here in town that can, from end to end, deal with everything. So, you have senior moving contact, storage facilities, clean out crews, estate sale companies, that you can help them, not only you can help them get to an alternative living situation and liquidate assets so they can afford that alternative living situation.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another idea, that if you find some time, go make some connections in that industry. I mean, you're following the system, and it sounds like you're doing everything right. It sounds like you have some pretty good competition. Like that you have people that are in your market that are being really
Well, I think
effective.
there's a ton of investors here. I'm getting more and more of that lately. It seems like they're just like, leave me alone. We're not selling the house. I'm not. Yeah, I know it's postcards and investors. You know, we buy ugly houses, people.
The last suggestion I have is go into the letter and brochure samples tab on our website and look at the letter called House Value. I wrote that letter for a lady in Colorado Springs where investors were snatching up half the deals, you know, like the first week. Super competitive market, and it's a less direct approach. It's actually mailed to the deceased, not to the personal representative. And it's a forward real estate approach, but it's an indirect, you know, it doesn't say we know that you're representing an estate. It looks like a neighborhood farming letter. And that might be if the investors are beating them up, this focuses on the strength of the market and how much homes have, like what the trend in your market is. So the idea is that it will eventually find its way, you know, through a mail forward or through family picking up mail at the house. It will eventually find its way to someone in the family who, whether they're the personal representative or not, if they're taking care of the property and picking up mail, they probably have authority, at least social authority, if not legal authority. But the idea is to have them see that and say, well, look, you know, this realtor in the neighborhood was saying that the market's up. Maybe we should call him. And it's a less direct approach. But if they're getting turned off because there's too much pressure on them, that can be a good letter to actually make it to the top of the pile versus all those other letters that kind of say the same thing.
Okay, great. Appreciate that. Well, thanks for letting me do my whining, and thanks for the idea.
Not at all. We're here to help you. I'm glad you've at least done 6 deals, but let's see if we can't make that 16 next year. So we appreciate it. We've got 5 more in the queue. It looks like, Tracy, somehow you got jumped over. So let me see who comes up next. There you are. Tracy, you're up next. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm not Tracy. I'm James, but the same number.
Oh, okay.
9711.
Okay.
Yes.
That's it. Yes, sir.
My wife and I, we're a team. So.
All right. Perfect.
And
yes,
she
sir.
pays the bill, so I let her keep her name on the phone.
Smart man.
She manages the money, so I have no problem with that.
I got it. Go ahead, James.
Here, real quick, just to tell everybody, James McCrae. I almost quit a month ago, and I've been involved since January. Got a little upset because things weren't happening as fast as everybody else, but I'm here to say, stay the course. Listing my first one in 2 weeks, and these are leads from August, and I bought it in January because there was nobody in my market in Richmond, Virginia. I got some old leads from August. Out of that, I'm going to secure one in 2 weeks and another one in the beginning of May, and I have 4 more that I have meetings with.
Well, that's great. And these are all older leads, like we were just saying, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, these leads season very well. Good for you.
And it did get cursed out once or twice, and, you know, I get thousands of letters, and, you know, you all leave us alone, so I apologize for, you know, investors telling these people, you know, I'll buy your property for 25, 50 cents on the dollar. But what I did was I sent her a handwritten letter just apologizing with a John 3:16 verse to it. So.
That's great. Comment, Chad?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No. Did you have a question, James? Go ahead.
Yeah, my question is, I need to start focusing on, I know where I went wrong. I wasn't making my phone calls. I figured the letters were enough. But I need to start focusing on the probate lawyers. Now, I do sell real estate, and I have a good connection with a closing attorney who gave me a name of a probate attorney. So should I go in with the with the trifold and explain exactly what I do?
Yeah, and so I'm in Roanoke, not too far from you.
Yeah,
And
I got family in Roanoke.
Our part of Virginia, from Richmond all the way over to Wytheville, like through Southwest Virginia, it's really uncommon for probate to involve attorneys here. So what you might find is there's not a whole lot of deal flow with the attorneys in your area.
Okay.
We do have some folks that are close to you there and more in the suburban Richmond area. And Sam Bingham has gone out and introduced herself to all the family law attorneys and probate attorneys. And even though it's not common practice, she has had really good success with that. So unfortunately, you and I can't really pull our list and get a list of attorneys like everyone else on this call can. But if you can do those, find out who the probate attorneys and family law attorneys are, absolutely get out there and let them know that your service exists in the community.
Okay.
Congratulations.
That's good.
Come back and let us know when you start. You haven't actually taken the listing yet, but you've got it on the calendar, right? For 2 weeks.
I have it on the calendar.
Please call and confirm and let us know when you get it. Congratulations for hanging in there. And yeah, I just have to say it absolutely amazes us. We had a very nice testimonial this week from someone that said that they just love that, we don't require a contract, and it frustrates us sometimes. We had a month recently where we had like 24 or 25 people that tried for a month or two and quit, and then several months later they started to get business. So, we always tell people, hang in there, stay the course. Some people have 4 or 5 out of the gate, and sometimes it takes months to get some traction. So congratulations for not quitting. You didn't lose the momentum. You hung in there, and keep it up. Great job.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. We have 3 more in the queue, guys. I went ahead and closed the queue because we got about 15 minutes left. So if you do have something urgent from this point, you're not in the queue, just call us or send us a support ticket, support@alltheleads.com, and we'll handle you one-on-one. Next up is phone number ending in 3745. You're up next.
How you guys doing? It's Eric. I was on the call last week. Once again, just want to say great job. I come from a heavy investor side where my goal is to try to buy as many of these properties, but I do have we do have a brokerage, and my assistant is the listing agent who's been going on a lot of these appointments. So you guys have really taught me at what point in that conversation to take off that investor hat when you just know the direction of that conversation is leaning more towards the retail side, or, they're not going to be looking to work with an investor. I wanted to, my assistant is getting a lot of lashback from people who, we are coming out there full service, helping them with the content, just being more than the people who are there to get rid of the property. But she is getting a lot of lashback regarding commissions and, paying these broker fees. And what I was actually recommending is maybe at the initial conversation, maybe we could mention that if we do list it, do you know anybody who's actually offering to list these at like a premium, maybe like a 7% commission, just to give that buffer to maybe allow themselves to back themselves down? And I guess the question that I have is, how can we show more value that, we want to let them know that we're here for full service, but, she's getting beat up so bad on her commissions and these brokerage fees that she's like, hey, I don't want to keep going on appointments and, feel like we're making progress when we're just not getting any traction with these people. They're nickel and diming us all the way down to the closing table. So is there something that we're missing or not addressing properly, or is there somebody who is successfully listing properties at a premium, or, building that from the onset and then kind of working backwards to where it's not so tough to tussle back and forth with these people?
So we do have people who are listing these at 8%.
Okay.
With no pushback.
Okay.
I'll tell you a 100-0 story. So the 100-0 principle is about self-accountability. And if you look at stuff as everything being 100% your fault, then it kind of changes the way you look at life and business. The reason I say that, I did this with I saw friends charging 8% listing fees. My first gig in real estate was in 2005 when I got my first license. My first 25 listings ever were at 8% because I didn't know any better. And the broker told me, list them at 8%. And I went and did it. And I led the entire brokerage as a completely green agent. I didn't know any better. So I didn't have this preconception that I had to list at 6%. I just went in and I proudly talked about 8% and why we were worth it. Well, I ended up falling into the habit of 6%, 4 or 5 states later, and that's just what we do here in Roanoke. And I was challenged to charge a transaction fee and a higher commission. And I was like, well, that'll never work in Roanoke. There's no way. And we pretty much had 100% success when we upped our listing to 8% or charged the transaction, like a transaction fee. Even every buyer that we worked with, we would sit down do like an hour-long consultation, take a $400 check, and then we would sign the buyer's agreement and start looking at houses. No pushback. So what that taught me was that I was engaging in the downward price race conversation when I didn't have to. Like, I needed to present more value. So I would take some time and look at how you're handling the conversation and why you're getting that, because like price is never an objection in the presence of value. Correct. So how can you show more value to that person? And if they do bring that up, and like a question that I love this question because people just look at you like they just ran over your dog. But when people start that, well, let's talk about whittling down your commission. I'm like, can you be specific and tell me what I've done to decrease my value in your eyes when we're just getting started? And it embarrasses the hell out of people. And they're like, and they get wrapped around the axle and then take control of the conversation again and go, we can come back to that. Let's talk about what matters the most. We'll show you how we're going to get the most amount of money in the shortest amount of time. And then a lot of times they're embarrassed to even come back to it. The consumer has gotten conditioned by discount brokerages. They're becoming conditioned to do that, like to chip away at us and try to get us to engage in that downward price race. And not only do you lose, all your peers in your market lose too.
Correct.
So
I agree.
Anyway, all that said, I would, and if you want, we can have a sidebar conversation, but I would sit down with her and say, where is it happening? When is it happening? Like, pay attention. And how are you engaging with it? Like, are they bringing it up, or are you mentioning commissions? Like, if that's the case, maybe you need to change how she presents the commission, like at that part of her presentation. So it's because something's triggering that to happen. Let's find out exactly when that's happening in the appointment, and then let's come up with a way for her to sidestep it or overcome it. But I think you can list it 8% all day long if you just have the right delivery with it.
So she's been selling about 60% of the appointments to off-market people, to other investors or other homeowners. And she's only been getting 4% on that, but she's still getting quite a bit of lashback, and a lot of people are complaining about the $4.95 broker fees. But I will definitely give that question to her and just say, if anybody starts belittling or trying to take that away from you, just outright ask them, put it right in their lap and say, is there something that I did that made you feel that I'm I didn't provide value somewhere? I mean, that's just a simple, honest way to put it right back in their lap. I love that.
And it's really effective.
I was just going to give you a couple quick one-liners. I used to coach, for many years. We used to tell the agents, just want a real quick one-liner. So, are you more concerned with the commission you pay, or the dollars you put in your pocket?
Okay.
Are you really comfortable listing with an agent who is willing to decrease his commission and doesn't know his own value? Whatever price we put on the home, I'm going to fight to get that for you. So are you more concerned with the commission you pay or the dollars you put in your pocket? It kind of distracts them, and it really makes them realize that, it's net. It's not it's not their gross, their expenses. It's what they net out of the transaction that's more important. And that's just a simple line like that to get the conversation started as far as how you provide more value can be very effective.
Something else I would recommend, go in your MLS and pull 2 years worth of closed transactions and then sort by the commission field and look at the days on market for the transactions that closed with lower commissions, and then do the same thing with expired listings and see if you can see if you can recognize a pattern of lower listing commissions resulting in lower prices or longer days on market. And then you can throw it right back at them and say, I understand how you feel, and a lot of consumers think that way, but here's the hard facts in our market. Here's what's happening. And I bet you'll find that at least the days on market are higher because there's less incentive for a buyer's agent to go out there and do that. And we all work for commission, right?
Truth.
Awesome.
Awesome, guys.
Great.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, as always. Appreciate your participation, Derek. Perfect timing, guys. We got 2 left in the queue, and that should take us right up to the top of the hour. Next up is, for some reason it didn't click. Let me try again. Next up is phone number ending in 0261. Can you hear me?
Hello?
Yes, sir. You're up next.
Well, actually, it's 3611, but that's okay. This is Kevin calling from Oklahoma.
Kevin, I don't know why it's doing that today. It's skipping over to the last person every time. So the last will be first. Go ahead, Kevin.
Well, I just want to give you a heads up. I'm going through a car wash here in a minute, so it might get really loud in the background. Just wanted to say that. But let me jump in real quick. I up until like recently, I would often forget. Anytime there was no phone number on a PR, I would just say, well, darn it, whatever. Well, I went ahead and I'm starting to reach out to the attorney who's doing the probate. I've reached out to 3, and all of them have called me back. So it really, and it's kind of cool. I sound pretty professional, and the gatekeeper never causes a problem. I say, yeah, it's sorry, it's getting loud. It's can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to take my speaker off, or take my headphones off. And I will, so I'll say, yeah, it's probate, case something, 219, blah, blah, blah. And everybody's calling me back. So that's kind of cool. So I'm kind of excited about that. And I'm going to meet with an attorney next week that is one of these. But he called me, he said, well, let me talk to they've been working on it, they're getting it cleaned out. Let me talk to him and see if she's okay with me giving your phone number. Well, me giving her your phone number, whatever that way is. And then, this is ridiculous. I'm so sorry.
It's actually whatever your headset you're using. We don't hear.
You're fine, Kevin. We don't hear anything. You're good.
Okay. So what happened? He emailed me back and said, "Hey, I spoke with her. She already has a realtor, but she would appreciate if there's somebody that that would help her with selling the personal property." So of course, I'm tempted to say, "Well, that's part of my business model. I don't really do that." But Chad, what's your wisdom? Should I go ahead and give him some names, or should I say, hey, well, let me call her? I mean, has she signed documents with someone? How would you recommend I handle that with the attorney?
There's one way you find out who my vendors are, and that you look me in the eye. So I would say absolutely. It starts with us kind of taking a look at the property, and then we can determine which of our team members is best suited for that situation. And even if it's a 15-minute appointment, know your outcome, get in front of them. And if chances are they haven't signed a listing agreement, a lot of times when they say, oh, we have a realtor, it's, the realtor's sitting waiting for them to struggle through getting the house cleaned out and all the things that need done. The realtor's sitting there waiting gosh, when am I going to get this listing? Instead of stepping up and helping them, they're sitting there waiting for the listing. So if you step up and help, and you don't even have to talk about the other realtor, you step up and help and provide value and, and help them, then they'll naturally list with you. And I think you were in Mastery, so you heard some of the stories of I've had people say, well, you can come over here, but you're wasting your damn time. I'm not listing with you or any other realtor. And it's 10 minutes in, they're leafing through the contract on their own. So I would certainly get over there, try to get over there face to face, and tell them you have a guy like a flea market guy that will come and take things that aren't like just a few items, but you also have like full-blown estate sale companies that can do an overall sale. And
But for
rather
me to
than
know what to recommend, I've got to see them, right?
exactly.
Yeah, good. Okay. Awesome. As usual. Appreciate you guys.
Good.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, as always, Kevin. Appreciate you participating.
You
Last
bet.
up this week, great timing. Last up this week is, hopefully it'll work, phone number ending in
I'm on the phone.
0982. You're up, Jonna.
Hi, how are you?
Great.
Hi, I was calling because I am a realtor and an investor. And so it was really, how do I present in that letter? Because I help them with options. So if they just want to forget about it and just be done with it as quickly as possible, then it's probably an investor proposition. However, if they want to get the most amount of money out of the property for themselves and heirs, of course, going retail would be the way to go. So I didn't know, had you put together some letters similar to that where people are real estate agents and investors?
Pretty much all of our letters are going to have that message. So regardless of, if you're a realtor who's never bought a house and never intend to, we still want that strong like cash offer message in your letter because it's a great hook that a lot of people want to talk about. It's not the best solution for most people. So we kind of cross-train, like there's really no difference in what we teach for an investor or a realtor. And if you can have an open mind about it and approach it that way, remove both of those titles and just be a probate expert or a team locally here that set up to help families in probate, however you want to phrase it, you'll find yourself in a lot more conversations. And just be aware, you've bought homes and done brokerage, so you know that intersection, that fork in the road when you start to determine the timeline, the equity level, and the motivation, like those three factors kind of split. And usually in the first couple minutes if this is going to be, a conventional deal or if it's a potential acquisition. And just kind of keep it at a high level, stay away from the real estate at first, focus on the people and the situation so you can gather information. By focusing on the people, it gives you things to talk about other than real estate. So if they've been turned off by other investors or other realtors, you get some space to build rapport, then you can talk about real estate. But you kind of approach it as, we teach it like you're the hub and the wheel. So you're not the broker, you're not the investor yet. Those are spokes that you'll talk about later, but you're coming from the center where you can talk about brokerage, investment, clean out, contractors, attorneys, CPAs, but all those hooks give them a reason to respond to you. So pretty much all of our letters follow that model of providing options and having a team of people that can deal with anything that might be troubling them. And then you narrow it down into whichever you believe is best for them and the one that you can monetize.
Well, in the initial letter, I really like the 5 points letter because I think it really is giving them value from what they're reading. I thought that was extremely well-written letter. But in the very beginning part, it says, I'm a realtor, and then in one of the other points says, or I can connect you to cash investors. So I was thinking that I would change or other cash investors, or, because I was thinking of putting realtor and real estate investor, letting them know that either way that they want to go, I can help them.
Yeah. So what I learned and doing this both by myself, trying to switch hats back and forth, and a friend of mine does well over 100 wholesales a year. And he would, if he knew when he got to the point where they made the offer and they flinched and they knew they weren't going to get the deal, he would refer them over to me. And we had a really hard time because it just broke rapport. So the handoff is hard. The idea is to make it kind of a blended message. And almost, so the idea is to appear as like a vertically integrated solution where you might not necessarily be any of those spokes, like at the marketing, like at reading the letter, but they want to talk to you because you can connect all that together. And then once you build rapport, then you can say, oh, well, I'm actually interested in buying this, or I'm sure I can help you get the highest retail price. but you almost keep it at arm's length until you're engaged with them. But yeah, certainly changing the letters to fit like your business and your approach. We recommend you do that. Like, so strip the title out and say, you know, I'm a local probate expert, and we can help you with, you know, selling fast, selling for the most amount of money, getting houses cleaned out, all those things.
Okay.
And
where you? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was going to share with you, John. I did both for many years, and I agree with Chad. 90% of the time, there was a compelling urgency or there wasn't. But there were times when people would say, give me both options. And if you get to that point, be transparent. I can't tell you how many houses I bought because I was probably the only investor that really told them what the house was worth, where everybody else was kind of lying to them. And, you know, I told, and just be honest with them, you know, the house is worth 200, but it might take 4 or 5 months to sell. As an investor, I'd have to buy it for 140. And the ones that ended up coming back to me, a lot of them came back because they felt like I was the only person that was honest with them. So if you're going to wear both hats, if you're going to wear both hats, be as transparent as possible.
Okay. And I had another question for Chad. Where are you from in West Virginia?
Around Snowshoe, on the eastern side of the state in the mountains.
Oh, okay. I'm from Montgomery.
Yeah, Pocahontas.
Around Charleston.
Yep.
Okay. Well, great. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Awesome, guys. And we finished at exactly 1 hour. Great job. I want to end this call like I always do. Thank you so much. We had well over 100 people on the call. Almost all of you stayed till the end. Thank you for taking the time to be here. Thank you so much to the people that actively participated. Is somebody saying something? Oh, somebody's yelling in the back. That's Chad. He forgot to mute himself out. It sounds like he's yelling.
No, I think that was the last caller.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Our dog is trying to go in the kitchen and eat food.
No problem. All right, guys. Thank you so much for being here. And as always, take one idea, one thought, one thing that inspired you on this call, go out and put it into practice and come back next week and share your results with the group. Make it a great week, guys. We'll talk to you same time next Thursday. Take care, and we'll talk to you soon.